Hi there, welcome to the Do It DIY AI channel. In this video we'll set up a Raspberry Pi using just a PowerShell script on a Windows PC, no manual interaction required. If you like this kind of content, please hit the subscribe button and you'll be notified when there's other videos like this coming up. First thing we'll do is image an SD card with the latest Raspberry Pi OS. We'll use Buster. I'm not using Bullseye yet because I still think there's some issues in there that just make it a little bit harder to get it to work. I'm guessing with the next sub-release that'll get improved. So go to this web page that you see here, and you can download the Raspberry Pi imager there. I already have it downloaded, so let me pull that up real quick. That's the Raspberry Pi imager. On this web page here, and I'll put the link down in the description, you can download all the versions of the Raspberry Pi OS, and this is the latest Buster version. So you'll have to download this file, unzip it, and then you're going to use that file. I already did that, so you just go here to Operating System, Use Custom, and then select the image that you downloaded and unzipped. Choose the storage, which is the SD card, and which is the F drive for my PC, and then hit write. Everything is going to be wiped, so if you confirm, then it will start writing. I'll speed this up a bit so we don't have to watch all this complete. All right, now that that is done, we will download the PowerShell script. At this website here, GitHub, I have a little repository with the PowerShell script, and this is the script that I'll be using. You can use Git to get it, but the easiest way I think to get it is click here on Raw, and then save it locally. All right, note it by default gives it the text extension. We don't want that, so let's take that out and let's remove it here as well. All right, and then save. We now have it over here. To make sure that the script can see the SD card, we have to remove the SD card and then plug it back in. And then we run this by right-clicking on it, hit Run with PowerShell. The PowerShell asks for some confirmation. We just leave it at the default, which is no. We can do R here. All right, and then it pops up a UI, which always pops up on my other screen. I'll bring it over here. All right, there we go. All right, so this is the UI where we can set up some parameters for the initial boot. The drive is F. We'll set up a first password for the Pi user. By default on the Raspberry Pi OS it's Raspberry, but that's a bit too generic, so we make it a very simple password because we will be forced to change it. Recommended would be to already make it a more complex password here, but just for the sake of speed I'll leave it simple. Set up the Wi-Fi SSID in the password. Hostname, that is how it will show up on your network once it connects. I like to pick this one, I use that often. And then one option I like to click is to install Docker, because I often use that, so it's just handy to have it installed right away. It'll install it in the default mode and also as rootless. The script does a few other setup things as well. It turns on the camera interface, it sets the resolution for the screen to 1080p. And a few other things, so that is why I don't use the Ctrl-Shift-X functionality in the Raspberry Pi OS imager, because that's a bit limited over there, and why I have this script here. All right, let's do configure. All right, that's done, and now we'll pop it in a Raspberry Pi. Okay, I'm going to capture the video output of the Raspberry Pi in VLC so you can see it here. That is this screen here. So let me turn it on. Let's watch what happens. All right, as you can see, the normal video output came up for the Raspberry Pi. If I had a keyboard connected to the Raspberry Pi, then I could do commands here. But like I said, I want to run it headless. Normally we wouldn't even have this this UI output. So let's start up a command prompt, and we'll log in using SSH. Now at the moment it's still doing some installs, so we actually won't be able to connect. But let me show you how that works. We'll log in as a user Pi. Type yes here. So the password was hello. And you'll see it'll say permission denied because it's still doing that install. So we need to wait for that to finish, and then it'll let us log in. Okay, let's try that again. All right, that's good. So now it's forcing us to change the password to something more secure. That's done. Then we log in again. And as you can see, we're now logged in. Let's see if Docker is running. And we can see it is. There's both a root version, which is the default version, and then there's also Docker running as started by the Pi user, which is the rootless version. So to see how that works, Docker, how easy it is to get, for example, a web server going, we'll just get an instance of WordPress running. So we'll make a directory first. We'll go in that. On this website here, on GitHub, I have a YAML file as well that we can use to get WordPress, MySQL, and PHPMyAdmin going. However, I'm not going to download this. I'm going to use just one command to get it on the Raspberry Pi. And the command is as follows. And I'll put it also down in the link, or in the video description. So here we go. We just hit that, and it's downloaded. Let's take a look. There it is. So now if we do look at the contexts for Docker, let's do that real quick. We see there's two contexts. There's the default and there's the rootless. I said I wanted to run it as rootless, so I need to change that. So I'll do that like this. Now let's see if it's now changed. And there you go, it is. So now let's run docker compose up -d. And you'll see the screen will blank a little bit, or the SSH session will blank a little bit as it is downloading all the files that's needed to do that. So that takes about 2 minutes, and I'll speed it up as we go through it. And there we have it. It should be running now. So I'm going to open up the browser on my PC, which I still have open over here. And we're going to browse to the domain name we set up earlier. The WordPress is set up on port 8000. So let's do that. And you'll see we'll get an error because it's still setting up the database, or it can't reach the database. So well, it's still doing some setup in the background. So we'll give it a few more minutes, and then we'll try it again. Let's give it another shot, see if it's ready. And it is. So this is the start of the installation for WordPress. Let's just go through that real quick as an example. We'll call it Pi WordPress, username, I'll pick admin. I'll pick a password here. Some email. Okay, and install WordPress. And it's done. So let's log in real quick. And it'll bring us to the admin interface. Well, of course, we're a bit too fast. There we go. All right, so this is the admin interface. You can go to the website here. It'll be very sparse, hardly anything there. You can like download some other themes. I like this one over here. So let's install it. Activate it. Okay. Let's go back to the website. And there you have it. So, really fast way to, well, first of all, configure your Raspberry Pi for headless usage. And really fast way also to get Docker going. And then Docker can be used for all kinds of installations and software. This is just a WordPress example. This video is not about how to run WordPress and how to make it available, you know, outside of your local network. There's lots of other videos about that. Anyway, that's it for this video. If you like it, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll talk to you later.